Only a week remains before millions of Israelis head to the polls to choose a new parliament for the fourth time in 2 years. Some Palestinians will be watching the outcome closely.
Usually, Palestinians view the elections as a pivotal moment that can change the scene as a whole and bring back to the table the issue of the peace process or even halt settlements.
HONAIDA GHANIM, director of Madar Center, a Palestinian center for Israeli studies in Ramallah in the West Bank, says despite the wishful thinking by the Palestinian leadership that the elections may bring new faces, the outcome will most likely stay the same.
I don't expect changes, and if there is, it'll be for the worse.
Palestinians appear unanimous in their belief that no existing Israeli camp is acceptable as a negotiating partner. HONAIDA says the internal Israeli political battlefield is becoming more extreme. She says the alternative to the current Israeli government isn't appealing to the Palestinians.
If you look at the competing parties, they're mostly parties on the right. The competition that exists is not between a leftist and a rightist movement. It is confined between the right and the ultra-right alliance.
Palestinians don't view the Israeli elections as an external matter, but rather an internal affair that directly affects their lives. Therefore, it's not surprising that the Palestinians, more than others, follow the Israeli elections and anticipate the results.
Israel always concerns the Palestinians. In the past, there was a bet on the peace camp or the left. Now, there is no peace camp.
Officially, the Palestinian Authority says it does not get involved in Israeli internal matters. But in 2012, President Mahmoud Abbas tasked the committee with outreach to Israelis in hope of influencing who they cast their ballot for.
My advice to the PA is to put in mind the priority of arranging the internal situation, restoring national unity, and regaining its fighting options, rather than trying to influence the Israeli election.
There are more than 2.7 million Palestinians living in the West Bank. They don't have the right to vote in Israeli elections, but they say they are directly impacted by any Israeli government policies. Ramallah-based journalist and analyst Faris Sarafandi says, with Israelis focusing on domestic issues, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is relegated to the back burner.
The Palestinians have become less concerned with the Israeli elections and what is happening on the Israeli street because they have tried all groups and all the Israeli political trends, and nothing has changed for them.
ISMAT Mansour, an expert on Israeli affairs, keeps a close eye and ear on Israeli politics. He says Palestinians in the past paid a great deal of attention to the Israeli elections, but because of lack of progress in the negotiations, that interest is waning.
There is no party or candidate among the competitors that holds any project or creditable plan to solve the Palestinian issue. All of them have dismissed the two-state solution. There is a disappointment that the Palestinian issue has not appeared on the Israeli political programs. There is no party now that constitutes hope for the Palestinians.
Sarafanti doesn't believe the Israeli elections will usher in a new era of hope for the Palestinians.
Everyone prefers that Benjamin Netanyahu be absent from the Israeli political scene.
Reporting for the Media Line, Mohammad Al-Kassim, Ramallah, the West Bank.